I don't even know how to begin. I want to say good morning, but I realize I'm saying good morning today anyway, out of kind of like a habit. Like, that's how I start. And I'm coming in with some trepidation today. Perhaps I have confused myself, or I've just brought in prior to sitting down to do this a little too many. I've distracted myself. I want to say that 10 minutes ago, which may have been more than 10 minutes, I was already feeling the excitement of, ooh, yeah, I'm ready, let's go. Can't wait. And then I thought, let me put on a washing machine. Let me listen to this clip finish that I hadn't finished, and then just quickly comment on, thank the person who sent it to me for sending it, and how it goes. And I took myself in a couple of directions, so I am right this very minute feeling suitably unfocused. I'm not truly, I'll get there. I'm multi-focused. Oh, yeah, Tatjana is a multifocal lens right now. My body, human system, bodies are multifocal. And to condense this multifocality into multivocality into words that I actually speak, that will actually record. It's challenging me right now, this present moment. I can add into the mix that I'm a little bit, I don't know if I'm off center right now, or like a bit, teeny little bit. And a teeny little bit is, we have a wonderful saying in German, knapp daneben ist auch vorbei. If you miss it by a hair width, you're still missing it, kind of thing. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you miss the bullseye by a millimeter, or if your arrow goes, if you're throwing it accidentally behind yourself, you're not hitting the bullseye. Bottom line. However, maybe it isn't the same. If I'm just off a little bit, it gives me the feeling. It's just, I just need to, it's a little click and I'm in. And I know what that little click is. Anyhow, I have taken myself, should I speak about this? Is it valuable to share right now this thing I'm about to share or not? How I've taken myself, another thing I did, it's taken me just off my alignment. Is it valuable to go into such detail and to give this amount of time why I'm out of alignment? No, it's not. Thank you for asking the question. I am reminded of Abraham Hicks when people come to them and argue for their limitations, quote unquote. No, that's not it. But they sometimes explain their situation, and sometimes people criticize Abraham. Oh, they don't let people finish their sentences. Yeah, no, they don't, because you shouldn't. Because the more you're going along explaining your story, the deeper you're digging your heels or your energy, or the more you're affirming what you're actually, the space you're wanting to leave. And we do that. Why do we do that? Because sometimes it helps us to clarify our own selves, but mostly when people come to Abraham, they have spent years explaining themselves to themselves. And maybe we're hoping to get some, when we do that, when we speak like this in front of someone like Abraham, maybe we're just nervous and we're doing it, or maybe we're hoping for compassion. We want to be understood. And the likes of Abraham, they understand. It's like we don't need to tell God what we need. God knows. Like, hello, omnipresent. We don't need to talk to God. If we talk to God, we do it for our own sake, not God's sake. God knows. So there's a great power in relaxing into the red dragon or red dragon wave spell. I'm not going into the explanations again. To relax into knowing everything is sorted, everything is taken care of. Every version of our reality exists, every timeline exists. I quote Bashar when he says, every second, I hope I'm not butchering this, I can't quote him literally, every second of your life, your subconscious or your spirit is sifting through gazillions of versions of timelines of you of this moment, and it's choosing to become conscious of one every second. We are making that choice. That is part of being human. And the paradigm shift that we are in, and you are you're in one of three places, I suppose. Each of them is a gazillion places. Old energy, transition, or already new energy. Already the expanded human. We have this power, we have this choice. I don't know that it can be made quite consciously. Occasionally, yes, it would be for our... No, why should we? Oh my God, tedious. It's like having to decide the chemicals my body right now requires to digest the coffee I've just had. Like, how much time do I want to spend doing that? Like, no. Like everyone else. I mean, we have a few commonalities on this planet, right? So one of them is we all have 24 hours in a day. What's not so common is how long this 24 hours is. Because time, I've got a ticking clock on the wall here. And every now and then it talks to me in terms of a terribly regular pulse. And then I ask myself, is this soothing or not? And I answer, it depends on my memories of it. When I was a kid, my grandparents, when I used to spend the night sleep over, visit my grandparents, in their guest room, I do not lie to you. I don't know what's up with that. I never asked them that. I once counted the clocks in that room. I think there were about 20 or so. It was an orchestra of clicks, because of course they don't all synchronize. It was and I would listen to that, and I did feel quite comfortable at my grandparents' house, so I think it was a soothing sound for me. The ticking of a clock is a soothing sound. We sometimes have guests sleep over. When our guest room is occupied, they sleep in the lounge, and at least one of them takes the clock out. I remember seeing the clock in the passage the next morning. I'm like, it was not comfortable for that person. And anyway, that regular, that we're sharing time. So in my 24 hours, I wanted to get back to all these decisions we're making. I'm not going to dive us into the regularity of the 1260 time frame, which has its merits, definitely has its merits. And personally, if we're going to meet for coffee, I come out of this 1260 time to say we're going to meet for coffee sometime in the afternoon. It could be today or tomorrow or the next day. Does it really work? It doesn't work either to say let's meet on a crystalline human for coffee. It's like, yeah, okay, when? um, so clock time has its function, its merits. As much as I can wish us to move over to 1220, and I just think it would make the world, it's just a beautiful place. I don't need to change the world. The world is fine as it is. It's perfect, in fact. I'm personally loving the 1320 frequency, running that in parallel. And I don't need to dive into making all these decisions. Oh, I did want to say that my personal experience, for example, exercising my body, moving my body, I've learned to enjoy, haven't always. It's taken myself years to motivate it to stay regular in exercise, and I never stay regular in it, never ever. And for many years, I used to berate myself for that and think, what is wrong with you? Just can't keep it up. What? And then I'm looking for the blocks. What is blocking me? And I found them all. And you know what? I've removed them all. And you know what? I'm still not regular. So what's the story? And my mind is giving me a new story. I'm sifting paradigms. I'm sifting moment by moment through my options. I want a story which has me come out good. I'm very curious. I'm going to throw in another aside, as we have this Neptune leaving Pisces, where it's been in for 13, 14 years? Foggy doggy land. Say no more. But it's going to Aries, so it's going to be a very, very different energy. But I do want to be real, but I do understand the power of the imagination. I also understand how it can lead us, down a foggy path, but without the imagination, where are we going? Only, I don't know. I cannot speak about that. To me, I'm too Pisces to even make the next statement I was about to say, because a part of me is totally reeling at it, and I'm like, I would have to make so many caveats to that next statement. Just drop it. About me, I can say, how do I, but my day has 24 hours. I love sleeping. I love dreaming. So, and I place a lot of value on that. I could shift that paradigm and say, I can get the same value out of 4 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. I'm not evolved in that direction. It hasn't been a choice I have placed any emphasis on. Because I haven't yet really needed to have 20 waking hours. I do not see the benefit to my life of having 20 hours in awake consciousness, and I would have to be able to have probably enough downtime, alpha, other brain states to not spend 20 hours in beta, which the story I'm telling me at this present moment is that wouldn't be very healthy. I could change that story, right? Would that be Pollyanna? Would that be foggy Neptune? Would that be imagination devoid of reality? I do not know. But I do realize that with the amount of waking hours I give myself, spending 2 hours, an hour, 30 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. Tatiana, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this? spiritual bypassing, Neptunian bypassing, illusion versus reality. I'm noticing that for the last 2 or 3 days, or since the white dog, well, no, since yesterday. Yesterday, I was very intensely connected to the energy of the day before. Naturally, perhaps because the white dog is the analog kin of blue monkey. So that made sense to me, to weave them together like intensely, and to feel those two energies together with the occult element of the red dragon. Today we have neither monkey nor dog present, but I felt the illusion. The monkey also represents our ability to create illusions, and it's a topic that I'm, in my humanity, as the human that I am, I think I'm very uncomfortable. I don't know if I spoke about it yesterday. I think it brings up fear in me to be led down a blind alley, to lead myself down a blind alley, to find myself waking up in a reality that, oh my goodness, today's tone 12. I might get back to what I just, oh my goodness, myself about, but tone 12 stands for, I don't want to even read the 3 words here. This app called 1320 Sync has a very, very beautiful text everywhere for me. I read about anybody who writes anything about the Tzolk'in or these seals or tones. Everything of it is beautiful. Sometimes it's very varied, but still applicable. I've never yet read anything where I would say, even if it's very different to what someone else writes or someone else is another source, it always applies to the energy of what's being written about, because it's so, each thing is so multifaceted. The 12 here, I quote, and this is not, this, even the app is quoting this information from somewhere else. I can't give you a source. 12 is the ray of complex stability, the foundation of self, and the foundation of essence, in union with the mystical truth of polarity. So this complex stability, the stability of, we are stable as a society because it's not just one of us in there, and because we're not all homogenically the same or homogeneous. We're not the same. We're similar enough, but we're different enough, and that creates stability. Genetics, if you have a city of whatever size, if people reproduce within that gene pool of that city and no new people come in, after a certain number of generations, the genes, there will be a degeneration or something. Degenerate? Is there a word of degeneration? Interesting. Degeneration. Where it's some sort of, it's not so great for the genetic expression to not get some fresh new blood, right? So that makes us strong. What's happening in Europe at the moment, this influx, and it's happened periodically. It's rarely happened as peacefully as it's happening now. I'm reminded of the times back in the days in Spain when it was all these wars, Christians and Muslims and people, and also the times with the Jews and Christians and whoever, and when they would war and bring people into new territory, it usually comes with conquering, or so we are told. Um, this version of me was probably not there. This 3D version wasn't there. But history tells us it always went along with a lot of war and bloodshed. But it would bring in new people from other places of the earth, and the genetics would mix. So now we're having Northern Europe, Central Europe has a high influx of people from Asia, Middle East, not far Asia so much, Middle East, Africa, and it just great for our genetics. It's going to be great. It's really necessary that we mix up our genes, and maybe also the mixing with the Ukrainian bloodlines in wherever they are going in the world as refugees. And I'm speaking only about genetics here. I'm not condoning anything or saying anything. But we're globalizing anyway, so we're mixing ourselves round and about anyway, and it's good. Once we've completely homogenized globally, we will certainly open up to people from other planets. I mean, it can't be any other way. Otherwise, the trajectory of the human gene pool on planet Earth would be downbound. That's my logic. If you can't keep a gene pool healthy in a small society, you need to mix. When the whole planet has mixed and mixed and mixed and mixed and mixed. Okay, we have a long time doing that, but eventually we need something new to come in. And it will. Or we will go someplace new. Anyway, there has to be an exchange. Something new has to come in. Anyhow, this complex stability, back to us, ourselves, myself as an individual, I'm a fractal of the collective. I'm coming in here to start, not to start over, but to start over from this point. Because I'm noticing my own human complexity and all the things I could say, the places I can speak from. And I do want to speak about Tone 12, the stability and complexity. I've spoken about it in the genetic terms, and it's the same with us. But I just feel no more. It's the yellow human, the oracle is called, the four seals next to each other, around each other, the four seals around it, with the human at the center. The antipode to the human is spirit, white wind, which represents spirit, breath, communication. And the complexity of the human is our third dimension, our many bodies, emotional body, mental body. We're complex in every way. We're human cells, non-human cells. That's what makes us stable. The polarity, polar opposites, a human cell and a non-human cell, I don't know if they're polar opposites, but they're certainly not the same. The atmospheric pressure on my body inward, the inner pressure of my body outward, it creates stability. A left leg and a right leg. We're so balanced, and we're so beautiful. We're such a perfect, dare I say it, representation of cosmic harmony. The fact that we have free will and we are able to act in ways that, moralistically speaking, seem far from what we would call perfect, but this is the definition of perfect. We willingly or unwillingly consigned to, or what's the word, chosen to accept a human. If take a baby, take a body of a baby, an infant, free by our understanding from any moral code, free from thoughts, free from concepts. It comes in a, I don't even want to say in the purest state, because then I'm saying that we become impure as we grow up, as we take on these. I really don't like thinking of us as impure, and as much as I don't like thinking of my body as in any way toxified, I prefer to think of it as it is a filter system. There are no toxins in my body, but I do acknowledge there are toxins in my mind. I do have to acknowledge my own dichotomy, my human dichotomy. But that doesn't take away even that complex stability. There is that which we call pure and perfect, and then that which we call not. It just, back to yin and yang. And since yin and yang is also like the yin and yang symbol, it's so bloody brilliant. I mean, it's astounding to my mind, which can be so uber complex, how a symbol, a two-dimensional symbol, a non-moving two-dimensional symbol, can say so much. Like, and there are so many of them. I'm just making an example of this one. It's just like, and that's also part of the crystal human, our complexity and our simplicity. How would we know simplicity if there wasn't complexity? It's just like, you can't separate. You can't have one. You need one. How do I know an object if there isn't space? I love the room. What is the room? Is it the four walls, or is it the space enclosed by the four walls? If I take away the four walls, the space that was enclosed by the four walls is still here. But is it then still a room? It's still a room, in as much as our cosmos is a room. But I mean a room. And no, in English, I'm confusing languages. I think in German we also call the cosmos room, im Raum. It is a very wide concept. It can be any space. Call it like space. It's like the equivalent of space. So this room I'm in is a space. If I take away the walls, I'm still in space. It is always space, right? So that's like that. But I prefer now the English room. So the room will be gone when I remove the walls, right? If I take those four walls and put them together somewhere else, I put a floor and a ceiling, so we have got 6 walls. I've created a room. If there's no ceiling, is it a room? It's still a room, right? It's a room without a ceiling. But I have none of my furniture, so is it this room? If I transport this room somewhere else without the furniture, if I take the furniture and everything, I could say it's this room, but it's no longer attached to my apartment. It gets complex. But what I want to say, get back to simple. It's like it takes these two elements Two very, very different elements, the walls and the space. Together makes the room. And the same with the human, I guess I could liken it. We have the body and the mind and the mental body, emotional, whatever, maybe, or whatever. Oh God, Harry. We've got a body, a vessel, however you define it. And then we have spirit. Together it makes a human. You can have the cells, you can have the physical components of a body without spirit, without that which makes it human. It isn't human. I'm not sure that it would walk around and look like a human and not have spirit. Is that possible? Some people believe it's possible. Kind of like having not a soul, just having a body, biological body. I have no idea about that. My instinct would be to say no, but it won't. Then the cells won't assemble into human form, because it requires spirit. There can be spirit without the human form. Would that mean there has to be human form without spirit? There can be the walls. If I take apart these walls, there's no more room. If I shift them out, if I dismantle this room, it's not a room anymore. But there are still bricks, there are still walls, there's still space. The components that make up the room remain. Even if they may change, they remain, but they remain. They don't change. No matter what I do, it's like energy can't be created or destroyed. So the components, but together they make the room. So as soon as if I remove one wall, it's still a room. If I remove two, it's not anymore. So the human can't remove spirit, can't remove body, can't remove cells. You can remove a leg, it's still a human. If you remove the heart and the human is dead, there's no more innervating spirit either. Then it's a dead human. A dead human is not really... Is a dead human a human? Does human automatically mean alive? Oh, interesting question. My instinctual answer right now would be yes. It requires life to be human. A decomposing human, a dead human is the cells of the body returning themselves to the earth in some way. It's no longer functioning as a human being. It's a human dead. It's not a human being, but it's a human dead being. It's still being something, right? Still being a collective of cells that could be identified as Tatiana for a while. Not after a while anymore. Well, so that's spirit, and that's a human, that's yellow human. So today, the first human we meet in the dragon wave is cosmic. Sorry, that's tomorrow. It's crystalline. And what does it say? To me, it says, because the crystalline tone stands for cooperation, dedicate, universalize cooperation. If it's the power its power is the power of the tone is to dedicate. Its action is to universalize. We are, universalize our humanity. And the essence that comes from it is it's cooperation. We cooperate. Nature is based on cooperation. We were in the last century taught it's all based on survival of the fittest, and it's based on what's the word? Exactly the opposite of cooperation. Like, I kill you so I can survive. I mean, that happens in in very dire situations that the self-preserving mechanisms, of course, kicks in, and I will do what any system will do what it needs to survive. But the baseline, and I'm not sure nature will be, some parts of nature are as aggressive about it as definitely humans are. There is, however, also what we can see is cooperation, harmony. The cooperative human is harmonic with each other, harmonic, harmonized. We strive for harmony. The body strives for harmony, homeostasis. Was that the word? We strive for harmony. The optimal state is that every part of the system is functioning, supplied, nurtured, exists in its own optimal condition. And then it becomes a benefit for the whole. All of my cells, my organs, my systems, each need to have what they need, the right amount of rest, nutrition, light, dark, motion, stillness, etc. And then it cooperates optimally. A society works like that, a forest works like that, the earth works like that, the solar system works like that. It's kind of like, it's like that's the cosmos works like that, and it can work like that. And if they say planet Earth is the only planet in what? Wide and far, not in the whole universe. Is it in our galaxy? Within a certain far reach, is the only planet of free choice. What does that mean? What does a planet, what would Earth look like if we didn't have free choice? If there wasn't free choice? Interesting question. Let's go back to this human that we're meeting here today. For the first human is crystalline. So right at the beginning, we're reminded that a mother red dragon can have, and can have many children. A plant produces usually many seeds, mostly. Surely there's some that produce only one. There's harmony there's benefit, harmony, necessary benefit and harmony in multiplicity, in many. What does it say in the Bible? Make love and multiply plentifully. It doesn't say rape and multiply, it says make love. Treat your neighbor as you treat yourself. It's based on love. But if you don't treat yourself kindly, it's going to be difficult to treat your neighbor kindly. And if your neighbor doesn't treat you kindly, you cannot understand how they're treating themselves on the inside. And if we respond with more unkindness, then we are right where we belong with them. If we can meet them with compassion, genuine compassion changes them, and there will be no longer any unkindness. That may trigger some people. What? I'm responsible for what my neighbor behaves towards me? No, I'm not. Oh, of course you're not. This yellow human is guided by the yellow seed. Potential, flowering, blossoming. Using our free will to influence ourselves, to exercise wisdom, to be wisdom. If we're not being wisdom, we can use our free will to choose, not to wish for, but to choose to become wise, to be wise. Becoming, you becoming what you are. We are wisdom. It's innately in us. If we have temporarily become insane, it's like a dream. It's necessary to know what wisdom is. It's very necessary to know what wisdom is. So to be unwise. So let's thank the ones who are unwise around us, because through the mirror of them, we can feel good about our own wisdom, right? So we are called upon to exercise our free will in any direction we choose. Every human has that right, and there's no judgment from the side of the divine. We wouldn't be given free will conditionally. The divine is not conditional. Love is unconditional. Most of us don't understand at all what that is. So, even with our own children, at some point for many people that stops. If you don't behave in that way, I don't love you anymore. If you don't love me back, I don't love you anymore. There are parents who do that in the direction of their children. It's I don't have kids, but it seems a bit whatever to me. But we can, and it's okay, because it is a worthy experience. There's no experience on this planet that's not worth making for the collective and for the individual too. So the seed flowering, if the power is to flower, what is the flower? What is the flowering? What is that expression? And I love flowers. I love this concept of flowering, because the wisdom of the plant is it doesn't produce a flower and then holds on to this flower until it dies. It knows. It flowers, it delights in it, lets it go, because it just goes on to producing new flowers. And there's no evil in that. Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you keeping this flower alive and pretty and beautiful forever and ever and ever? Bad plant. Can we look at a flower and let it teach us doesn't teach us enlightenment. There's probably no such thing as enlightenment. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but it can enlighten us in this moment. Enlightenment is like a fixture in time. Like, no, you don't want to be in enlightenment, but being enlightened by a flower or anything every now and then, every now and then, that would have to be enlightenment. Okay, we're flowering as humans with our consciousness. The action is to target. What is to target? As my Piscean self, takes up some issue with targeting, because like making goals, I'm like, what? Who needs goals? We have an ocean. Just swim and just go anywhere. Open your mouth. The plankton just flows right in. Hello? Seek what? It's all here. And if it's not, just keep swimming. Somewhere else it will be. Your instinct will tell you where to swim to, where your food is. And if not, you die. So what? You are the ocean. You are fish and ocean. I mean, there's really not a problem here at all. Why stress? Why target anything? All right. So what is this targeting for? The essence of it is awareness. I mean, that's for me. I'm born on the day of a yellow sun. So my life purpose, and I can attest to that, is my development of my own consciousness. That's what I'm all into. I target that, the flowering of my consciousness. What does that mean? How do I be physical? How do I be human? How do I get to that state? I want to be in that state. I mean, how do we all collectively? How do we develop in that state where, how do we develop our humanity? What does it mean? Do we want to live hundreds and thousands of years? We want to be able, for me, that would be a goal, a target, that each human decides when they leave their body. They decide it's time to go. We do that spiritually. I believe we do that anyway. The human self of ourselves mostly doesn't know that. And that is part of the dream. When you're in the dream, you don't know that you're dreaming. When you wake up, it's like, oh yeah, the obvious. No confusion. In the dream, there's rarely even an awareness that you're dreaming. Lucid dreaming is a lovely thing. And I've recently learned something about my own lucid dreaming. When I'm dreaming lucidly, knowing that I'm dreaming, I just experience a dream. I'm an observer of the dream to a degree. As soon as I, with my level, some people can do it, I can't, try to control the narrative in the dream. But it's not true. Sometimes I can a bit. I'm learning that, how to do that. In the past, it's been when I do that, my Tatjana, this 3D dream consciousness comes in, wants to control that other dream, and I wake up. I kick myself out of that because some control comes in, some fear or some, I don't know, whatever comes in that says, I want, I don't know. But it can be learned. I mean, obviously it can be learned, we all know that. It's fun. So I like sleeping because that sleep dream time, damn. I love it. So each one of us gets to decide through our own free will, what are we here on earth for? If we try to decide what other people are on earth for and call them idiots or something, then, well, we've just shamed ourselves. Because one finger pointing out, 3 pointing back. Crystal human. We are a family. We are actually one being. But we have a consciousness of this aspect, like ourselves. I don't know. I don't need to go there again. Understanding ourselves. It's harmonious. If our cells they may have an individual consciousness. Like I am this cell. I need this and this. I, as myself, don't really know whether my cells have that consciousness. I am told they may. It doesn't even matter. For me personally, it's fine. I would like, with me and my cells, would like to be in harmony. Me and spirit, me and my body me and my spirit, body me and my mind me and my emotions, emotional me and my mind. I'd like all of us to be, the collective, would like all of us to be in harmony. I would like all of us to get what we all need. Now the human has a cult power, is the moon. Emotion, feeling, flow, water, right? And the analog blue hand, knowing, healing, and also acting, doing is also a part of hands, right? Giving and receiving on the physical, with the physical hands, emotional hands, mental hands, spiritual hands, giving, receiving, holding, letting go. It's all part of our humanity. And there doesn't have to be balance, there doesn't have to be harmony. There are consequences when there is disharmony that we may not like, but we have free will, and we do well to know what that means, and we do well, I think it's a good idea to know how to use it, to be healthy. I envision a humanity that can decide how long it wants to live, that can decide at what age as a woman to have a child or not, or to be, all these options that I can imagine we can live for thousands of years, eternally if we choose, and have all the options available to us by choice. I see no reason at all why that shouldn't be good. And to have each we can choose. And maybe that's already, I mean, oh gosh, of course all realities exist. Of course it's all now. Of course all timelines exist. Of course all options exist. If it's in the wherewithal to, I can just choose that timeline. I have free will. Whew, isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting? Now, how do I get out? Now, I've been conditioned. Old energy. It's been, I don't know. Abraham says, don't argue for your limitations. Let go of the past. Where are you going? Seeds are a reproduction, a replication, or a copy of the parental DNA. And in that, perhaps, the seeds, the plants, or animals don't have free will because they can only reproduce copies of themselves to a degree. Some species can interbreed, which ones, whatever, and then there are a little bit more options, but there's still only the options. And in the old energy, before the harmonic conversions, for the longest time, or before whenever, now we're in this shift, right? Shifting where to exactly? We get to decide. We're shifting. Fuck. Of course we're deciding. Of course we're all deciding. And it's like an opening. I mean, not everybody is in it. And not everybody has to be, because I only experience my life with you guys. But I only meet who's in resonance with me. When I look out in the world, I see a very, very, very different world to what people are telling me is happening. Of course, I don't consume the media. So then, of course, they tell me, you're living behind the moon. Yeah? I'm like, okay, it's a nice place. I'm sorry to say. It's shitty. I can only recommend it. I look out at the universe. I can go right on anywhere. Every now and then I visit Earth. It's fun. Earth is a great place. But okay, I'm human. I'm on Earth. I love my humanity on Earth. I love the whole humanity on Earth. That a lot of my humanity, my collective self, having many human bodies, having all human bodies on the planet, that I have to call it we, because otherwise I am, get up to some weird stuff. Yeah, okay, free will, go for it. All I can take care of, or the fractal part of that is Tatjana, that is subject to Tatjana's free will. The collective is subject to the collective free will, and there is a collective free will, and it's influenced by all of us collectively. And the power structure of the collective, the influence on the collective is shifting, at least from my vantage point. And you know what? It's my game. I love it. And I love playing with everyone who comes into my field. It's not a lot of people. It doesn't need to be a lot of people, because I only have 24 hours in a day. It's just fantastic. Every one of them is fantastic. Every person I meet is a universe I love joining, conjoining with, sharing with, mixing with, being on the crystalline tone with, sharing experiences which strengthen my own experiences, which strengthen my own free will, merging light codes, having fun together, playing. Every human I'm in contact with, I enjoy. Every human. And when there's a little bit of discord, which sometimes happens, which I'm just, thinking of one particular incident right now, that's been a repeat. I've learned. It used to throw me. I get insecure. I don't want to be in conflict. I spent a lot of time in my life conflict avoidant. And I realize now it's because I'm not here to override your truth. I just want to state my own. I'm not here to fight or argue with you. And maybe in the past it hasn't always been like that. Gosh, I remember rigorous arguments about religion where I vehemently defended my point. But I learned in those arguments also to accept every other point, because I can't influence anybody else's point of view. Or why would I want to? They have their free will. We all have our free will. We can only influence our own point of view. And look to, how do I feel good? What do I need to feel good? What point of view do I have to take to feel good? If you're on a different point of view and you're feeling good, great, let's feel good together. Never mind the point of view. It's totally irrelevant. We're just feeling good together. Let's have fun. If we can't agree on what having fun together looks like, well, then find another playmate. There are about how many billions of us on this planet? It's crystalline. There's the strength of diversity is great. If we're cutting ourselves off from source, like there's nobody who wants to play with me, well, that's the illusion. Blue monkey, go take a look. Where do you feel you're not fun? You don't like playing. You have learned falsely that you're not worthy. Nobody may like you. There are people like that. I'm not talking about you, but I think there are some sad people like that out there. And there are people, that is a sad state to me, because I'm talking about those who are not happy with that. There are people who are totally loners or recluses. They're very happy with that. They don't need anyone to play with. Totally content in their own cosmos. Perfect. But when we're not, can't find a mate, looking for very common one, partner, looking for a partner, looking for a lover, looking for someone to love me, well, maybe we want to start looking for someone to love, because there are lots of people who want to be loved. In the fullness of your love, give it. And the law of attraction will always, not possible, not negotiable, put you together with the right one. And then you learn and grow, because there's going to be some friction, maybe. And then it's like, okay, what about me? What is that about me? Mm-hmm. What is the book title? Love Yourself and It Doesn't Matter Who You Marry? Or you can marry anyone? Human. Yeah, so today, the first human, we get to decide, exercise our free will. And this saying here, I dedicate in order to influence. What am I dedicating? And what am I influencing? If I dedicate myself to influence the world, I'm trying to save the world, I'm trying to make the world a better place, no. Everyone has good intentions. Not just us and they don't. We are right and they are wrong. They also have good intentions, even if they're going for something totally different. We believe it's this way and they believe it's totally the other way. I often think, can we sit down on a table and actually find out what is it we want? But the problem is, I'm thinking in my mind, like the climate debate. Like, how do you reconcile that? We have to change, we have to do something. If I believe we as humans are responsible, we're causing the climate change or having large influence on it for the worse. And another human or group believes we don't. And maybe another group believes, fuck climate, I just want to make a lot of money. I don't care about tomorrow. I don't care what it causes or not. When we sit down on a table, my question is, well, what do we all want? What does each one want? One wants the security of, I want to make a lot of money. I need security. To that person, and I need influence. Yellow human, we want influence. Why do we want a lot of money? Because we want influence. We want to influence how we feel. We want to influence that we feel secure in the world that has made us such slaves to money. It has made us, excuse me, I correct, we have made ourselves, whatever. You can pick. But there's that one, it wants security, it wants influence. Then there's the one that wants to save the climate, it wants to save the planet, it wants security because it wants to make sure it lives on a planet where it can survive, it wants to make sure the planet survives so that all its fellow humans and future humans and nature and everybody else can survive. It wants security and it wants influence. And then there's the one that says, we can just be, there's nothing going on that hasn't always gone on, climate comes and goes, we're good. Let's just investigate in what's coming for real. Are we going into a heating period? Are we going into a cooling period? Whichever way, how can we prepare for it so that we get through it? That one also wants to be secure, to survive, to ascertain its own survival, safety, to feel safe on planet Earth, and it wants to influence how do we get to be safe on planet Earth. It might think we can't influence the Earth at all. She has her own rhythms and mechanics, and how do we navigate together with her rhythm and survive. So I would say, it looks to me, and maybe I'm totally naive and you're coming in with all kinds of, all the points I'm not seeing, totally possible. Well, my limitation leads me here. But then I would take everyone else onto this table, find out what's the baseline. This is what we want. Now the problem or the challenge is we all want the security and we all want the influence, but we come from a different perspective of what's happening and what we can and ought to do about it. And our motivation. So how can we reconcile that? How can we all feel safe? I mean, it's this gives me joy because I love to sit on that table right now, because now the puzzle starts. Okay, you think I want to be the mediator on that table? I just want this. Oh, give me a virtual room. I don't want to do this in my head because of my own limitations, how I have to put myself in everyone's position. You want to make a lot of money and you don't care about the environment? Or do you want to make a lot of money? Are you in which team, which of you are you saying, but the climate is fine? I go with the ones who say the earth does her thing. Okay, so now comes in another voice and says, yeah, but nobody ought to be making so much money like you. What are you doing? You have far too much influence. Oh, stop burning all that oil and coal and and the other one says, stop making those solar panels and windmills because they cannot be, they're so destructive in the long run for the environment. The other one says, stop making this nuclear energy because it creates the waste and it's so dangerous to have nuclear power. And the other one says, no, keep making nuclear power, it's so efficient. We have to stick together. Not me against you. And there are solutions. Oh, elegant solutions. But I'm not allowing that elegant solution because your elegant solution is taking me away from my multi-billion, trillion, coal-burning, power, influence-wielding path. if we're suddenly using tidal power or magnetics to have eternal free energy out of the tidal power is kind of sort of like it. Why aren't we investing more in tidal power? Because like, you know, and then we could desalinate water through magnetics. We would create healing water. We would create water that has a magnetic structure that would be really good for the human being under the right circumstances. Why aren't we going there? And then the next person says, oh, because they don't want us to go there. But like, how about you? Just choose the reality and the timeline where we are going there. And we're not going there to hurt anyone. We're going there together. Let's go together, hand in hand. Or in the 80s, hand in hand. We said, what is that? We are the world. We are the future. Everyone is like, yes. And then, oh, back to victim mode. Or like, no, but I want to, the future. I mean, really, oh my God, the future is just potentially so exciting, because when we understand that we need a world in which every human has access to all the resources they need for whatever they need to express, whatever brilliance they carry within themselves, whatever seed potential they have, whether they just want to sit and make music all day long, paint, travel the world, look at the stars. In my idea, you don't have to earn your survival for certain. No ways. We got to stop the slave machine. Free all the resources for every human to have access to. Money is this thing of exchange. Like for me, for example, I love massaging. I don't need to. I've been a photographer for a long time. I loved photographing until money came in. It's like, ugh. You know, it's like, wait, can we just cut all this money stuff and just do what we love doing, and know that we can go to the supermarket and take from it what we need to cook our meal? I know so many people who will say like, oh no, but people would just abuse that, they would just take away from others. But that's exactly the old paradigm. That's exactly, yes, we've lived like that. Why? Do we want to continue living like that? Do we want to continue being that? What is the human vision you have for yourself? What is the human vision I have for myself, my own individual life? Do I look at how it's been done, how life has gone, and they're telling me at the age of 25 or 35, biologically, you're on a down decline? Like, hello? Speak for yourself, please. I have my own free will. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to live in a world where we all have our own free will. Choose for yourself. And that is the reality, Tatiana. Remember this. This isn't like the future. We're already living that. We just may not know it. I may not know it. And my life is actually testament to that. I manifest my own limitations. One-on-one. I mean, really, like, I can totally see it. When I'm not in resistance, whatever I need, want, it comes. Whenever. And I can want something today. It doesn't come today, but you know what? I want it, and now there's plenty else to play with. I don't have to stick myself like, I want this, and if I don't get this, I'm not going to be happy with what I'm having around me right now. But that is very common, very common. I'll be happy when. No. We know better than that. That's part of my shift. Part of our shift, collective shift. It's not part of the collective shift. It's the collective shift I'm seeing, because that's my mirror, my projection. Who is this I projecting into the collective? Who is that? In Lakesh Alakim, the quantum field. Did you listen to the telepathy tapes? Highly recommend it. The hill. I think in part we're all there, but we're not aware of it. And to become aware of it, it's a place. I mean, I don't want to comment on the hill. I am not qualified to. But we are connected. Oh man. So connected. And we're connected to everything. Because everything is connected with everything. Wow. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for you. Thank you for being. I thank you. For closing the loop, closing the circle. And I thank you. I also thank myself, but I also thank you for opening the loop so that it gets to spiral and connect elsewhere, form new loops, flower of life. Lots and lots of loops. Everywhere there is a point where one loop, one circle touches another circle, that's a portal. We can travel along these circles. And at the portal, we can transfer into another circle. That's kind of linear. In reality, we are the entire pattern. We're not traveling. We're particle and wave. We're linear and multidimensional. We're time and eternal now. And that's the polarity, complex stability, the divinity of the polarity, yin and yang. I quote Kaipacha Lecha with his daily, no, he doesn't do daily astrological reports, I think a weekly, and he always says, yes, the weekly mantra. And for the many reports of his that I've listened to, one mantra stuck, the only one. It's not either or, it's both and more. How many times do I go back to that wisdom? It's not either or, it's both and more. Those words are to me, they just activate. They activate everything. Okay, now I'm going to close this channel because some part of my mind tells me I'm overstaying my welcome, or whatever that phrase is. I just said it 20 seconds ago, realized my recording stopped. went into analysis mode on why am I thinking that, overstaying my welcome. I think that's it. Just now I couldn't remember. I needed to start the recording again at the point where I had said that because I yelled. And now I'm like, I'm not wanting to analyze that. And I realized I couldn't remember that statement, that expression, because fear came in. I started to analyze like which part of my mind is now saying this and da 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 da. They spoke a bit about the Yellow Warrior and all that. I went on another tangent. I'm not going to go there now, but just noticing how fear fogs my mind. Neptune is also a fogger. Anyway, fog. What do you do when you're in a fog? Should you just move forward in faith or stop still? Either or. Sometimes either or, not either or. It's both and more, right? Sometimes you should stop and wait it out, and sometimes you guys just find no GPS to navigate by when you can't see where you are. But we have these wonderful devices. And many of us say, oh, we're losing so much of our brain because everything gets outsourced to the device. Not we're losing much of our brain, but you know what I mean? Our ability to navigate, for example, without a GPS. I can't do it. Can I still read maps? I can read maps. But it's so convenient to follow the GPS. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe they have a point, and probably it's not either or, it's both and more. But having a GPS frees up so much resources of myself to do other things. When I'm driving or walking, and I can just let the GPS guide me. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but I can do other things with my mind. I can't do anything else with my body while I'm driving. But I don't have to pay any attention to where I am or where I'm going. Maybe I know where I'm going. It's set, right? I don't have to pay any attention to my surroundings or street names or anything. There is a loss in that, but there's also a gain. So count your losses and count your gains. Make your decision based on your own free will and your flowering targets. Today you choose. And know that everyone makes a different choice, and we all benefit from the choices we're all making, or we could all benefit from the choices we're all making. I'm speaking really fast because my time is running out. I am not going to extend this clip even one more second. Oh my God, this is so funny. Okay, I wish you a wonderful day. Aho.